Thank you, Grace, wherever you are.
What on earth happened?
Okay, so I usually start the meeting with the town username and password, which is what I did. And when I did that, it said, you haven't logged on from that device for a while, so we're going to send you a verification code. And it sent the verification code to an email that does not exist. So for a half an hour, I tried to get on. But I did finally get Grace. Grace kindly drove to town hall to start the meeting. So that's a bit insane.
It seems to me that that Zoom has instituted some new security
That is in
measures.
fact correct.
And that's just so that only Becky and Grace can start meetings. Is that right?
I don't know if that's correct or not. They don't know. It's that weird account where the verification happens. It's a non-existent account. So something's going to change. And apparently it hasn't happened that many times, but we got lucky. But what's weird is I was able to start the meetings in March and they thought this started happening at the beginning of the year. So I don't know what's going on.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
People are checking in now.
Did we lose Tim?
Tim should be coming.
And Peg should be coming. I talked to her on the phone. Oh, so meeting host is blank because that's Grace. I get
That's
it.
Great.
Yeah.
She might have turned it over to me. I'm not sure she was going to. But I thank you guys for hanging in there. I'm really sorry. Uh-oh, who did we lose there? Oh, the host. She must have turned it over to me. Okay. I just texted Tim. And Andrea, can we see you? Want to start your video?
And you're muted, Andrea.
And we're waiting for Tim because he's the note taker.
A critical role.
It certainly is.
I'll call Peg and
Oh, here
there's Tim.
here's Tim. Hi,
I'll
Tim.
call Peg and make sure she gets on.
Thanks for making it happen, Meryl.
Oh my God, I'm gonna start drinking any minute. All right, here's Tim. Okay. Hi, Tim, are you willing to take notes for us?
Oh, yeah, I'm all set.
Oh, thank you. And also, thank you very much for sending out some
Hi,
of my
Peg.
emails
We're on. We're on.
when I was
Yeah, we're
frantically
on.
trying to get
Okay,
this
bye-bye.
going.
Um,
Oh, my word.
I didn't send it. I'm losing track. I guess it's old age. Sue Quigley is a committee member, or was she just visiting?
No, Sue Quigley got off the committee, as did Ron.
And Ron got off too. Yeah.
Oh, well, I sent one to him, but no problems.
Well, he'll be interested to see that. Andrea, if you can hear me, would you be willing to start your video and unmute yourself? Possible, but we do have a quorum here. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So I am going to start the meeting since we're running so late. And for the meeting record, please note, Tim, that there were problems with Zoom, that we could not use the town's website, and that this will have to be addressed for future Zoom meetings so that it doesn't happen again. Very annoying.
Is Steve Rice is still on the committee?
He is. He
He
could not
can't-
make the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't. Oh, hi, Andrea. There you are.
Hi, sorry.
No problem. And here comes
There's
Peg.
Peg coming
That's
in.
Peg. All right.
Okay.
Andrea's last name.
Rogers.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rogers. I'll put it up.
Thank you. Is Andrea a new member or?
Well, we've got to talk about all of that. So
Okay.
she's an invited guest. The invited guests were Barbara Bigelow, Sharon Raymond, Jeff Rogers, Andrea Rogers, and Mary Glavin. And Mary is here. Welcome. And also Andrea, welcome. Will Jeff be joining us?
Jeff double booked himself, so sadly,
Okay.
no. He would like to, but he has a conflict.
No problem. And I haven't heard anything from Sharon Raymond. Barbara Bigelow did try to get on. I told her to try after 7:30, but she was having some internet issues. So I don't know if she will be joining us or not. So with that said, before we do introductions, our two potential future members, I just want to give you a really short overview of this committee, because what we've done over the years has changed quite a bit over time. And our responsibilities used to be focused on doing bulky waste day twice a year, and then distributing trash bags, and periodically doing different events, whether it's Celebrate Shutesbury, helping with town cleanups, or other kind of discrete items. As you probably know, a few years ago, were able to work a deal with the Leverett Transfer Station to allow townspeople access for bulky waste 3 days a week, all year long, which is a much better deal. So we don't do the bulky waste anymore. So I would say our primary responsibility is contracting trash hauling for the town, trash and recycling hauling for the town, and then doing the trash bag distribution. And there are also some other smaller activities that we do on a periodic basis. The role that I play as chair of the committee is primarily organizing meetings, making sure minutes get submitted to the town, and doing some communications. And then if there are subcommittees or whatever, working with them. Gary carries the most weight on his shoulders as the recycling coordinator. It's a nominally paid position, and he works very hard for that nominal pay. And I mean, I can give a short overview of what you do, Gary, but you probably can do it better. So if you'd like to just say a few minutes about the kinds of things that you do, that'd be great.
I'll do it quickly. One of the things that I do is stay connected to the state DEP and to our regional recycling coordinator. We have Susan Waite, who used to be I don't know if anyone knows her or not, but she used to be the recycling coordinator in Amherst, and then the recycling coordinator in Northampton, where she did some really good work of putting a swap area together in Northampton. And she is our regional DEP coordinator. So she works for all Western Mass. So that's part of my job, is staying connected with folks and going to regional meetings. I also every year do a grant proposal to the DEP to see if we can get any money out of them. And we've been fairly lucky over the last few years. There are a couple of categories of grants that we're eligible for. And it took us some time to get the DEP to recognize our collaboration with Leverett. But for the last 2 years they have, and we've gotten about $2,800 out of the DEP the last 2 years. I'm hoping that later this month we'll find out that we're getting at least the same amount. So that's a lot of what I do. I also stay in contact with yes.
What
Andrea.
is that money used for?
Mostly trash bags.
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
Recycle bins.
It's mostly trash bags. We can also use it for recycling bins and for compost bins. And, but the trash bags cost us maybe about $6,000 a year. And so, so we use that to help pay for that.
And Gary, you also often write the articles for the newsletter. and
That's right.
Between the two of us do the annual report. So there's just
Right.
little items like that.
There's that too, yeah.
Another thing about this committee is that, I mean, Gary and I both started about 30 years ago on it.
1989.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I've been
Wow.
chair of it almost all that time.
Wow.
Maybe after about 25 years. So I will just throw out there, if anyone else has any interest in chairing, I would be happy to pass that responsibility along to someone. It's not a huge responsibility, but anyway, just throwing that out there if anyone's interested. The other thing about this committee is that unlike other committees, we don't really have a regular committee job description or committee description. And also it doesn't specify how many members, whatever. It's a really kind of loosely organized committee. And we do not have regular meeting dates. And I have sort of kept with that, the philosophy that unless we really need to meet, I don't call meetings. And we usually meet a few times a year before we start the trash bag giveaways. I mean, this year we met more because we had a new contract that we had to develop. So, but we actually put a subcommittee together and that did most of the work on the trash and hauling contract. But otherwise we meet very infrequently. And unless someone else takes over as chair, which I'm not hearing a rousing number of people jumping up to do that, I plan to continue with that way forward because I don't like meetings just for the sake of meetings.
Hey,
And I will say that everyone on the committee, though, has been very dedicated and helpful and wonderful. And we don't usually have disagreements, which is nice. And then sometimes someone will propose a particular effort or event that they want to spearhead, and we support, doing that. So we're open to doing different things. So that said, I would like, we'll introduce the committee members first. You already have me, and hi, Jeff, as the chair.
And Bonnie.
Yeah, and Gary. Yeah, so Marla, you're next on my screen. You want to just say hello?
Hi, I'm Marla Killo. I live on Pelham Hill Road.
Yeah. And about how long have you been on the committee?
3 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't know, 3, I think.
And then Gail?
Gail Flyshaker. I'm on West Pelham Road. I've been a member of the committee since 2008. My chief role is keeping our webpage alive and active, and keeping statistics of tonnage to report for Gary, who has to report to the state annually on tonnage, both recycling and off trash.
And thank you, Gail, for
Very,
that. You
very
should-
helpful indeed,
Yeah.
yes.
an excellent tracker on any detailed financial efforts. So we really appreciate that detail. Tim is a wonderful minutes taker. And Tim, would you like to say a couple of words?
Yeah, my name's Tim Logan. I've been on the committee for just a few months or less than a year. My chief function is to send emails when the Zoom link goes down.
And hopefully that was a one-shot deal.
That does not happen often.
Hey, Tim, you drove out with me to pick up the recycling bins.
That's true.
And you're going to work at the Household Hazardous Waste Day, right?
Who are
The
you?
Tim is.
Household Hazardous Waste Day.
Yes. Tim is, yes.
Yes.
I thought you just said Andrew.
No, I said Household Hazardous Waste Day, Tim.
Okay.
In Amherst, okay. And then one more, okay, Gail?
And all the committee members serve at some point behind the desk for handing out trash bags.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yep.
Peg Ross, another longer term member.
Yeah, I don't know, 6 years maybe, something like that,
It's all a blur.
6 or 8. I live on Montague Road and about a quarter mile from Gary, and that's about all I can say. I'm a member at large.
Yeah, and Peg's been really helpful when we've had like these last minute phone calls that we got a tractor trailer waiting to unload boxes of and that's another committee responsibility, actually, is to unload trash bags to the extent that you're physically capable of doing it. It doesn't happen more than once a year pretty much, but that is, we do a handoff line with the boxes and get them loaded at the shed pretty quickly though. So that's a minor role, but one that it's nice to have help with. So I'm going to just ask Mary and then Andrea to just speak a little bit about your interest in the committee, if there's anything particular you're interested in, or we're just really pleased to have you join us tonight, now that we could all get in.
Thank you. So my name's Mary. I live down on January Hills, so I'm down the hill from everybody. I'm really looking for maybe a fun volunteer that I'm committee that I'm excited about. And in a prior life, for about 15 years, I was an environmental health and safety manager. And
Nice.
I'm gonna say this cautiously. I chaired many committees, especially the hazardous waste. So I don't know, maybe we can talk. This is all things that I've been in the past, but I'm an alum from UMass, environmental health and safety. You said I worked in EH&S for 15 years. I worked at Bay State, Cooley, and then did industrial. Took a little time off for some personal health reasons, and then I'm just doing some intermittent consulting work for a safety consultant for chemical safety data sheets. My husband's also a chemist, so if we ever need help on hazardous waste day, I can always volunteer him. But it's, I really like recycling. I'm a thrifter galore. I can't remember when I bought something new. And love to go to Leverett. Got a lot of little. The rule is I'm supposed to bring more there than I bring home, but so that's kind of what my life is a little bit opened up recently. I do have time now to belong to a committee. So I'm just hoping to get into something that I enjoy and be part of the community. I used to be on the Board of Health years ago when we had Bill. That was there for a while. My husband and I aren't clinical, but we did work the flu clinics at the end. You may have seen us taking your paperwork. So I do like doing community stuff, and I do like recycling. So, and I have the time. So
That's
might be a good.
That's great.
Sounds wonderful. And I really appreciate your interest. And I'll say with Hazardous Waste Day, that's actually an event that's run by the town of Amherst.
Right, yeah.
Shutesbury does is provide a body or two. And if you're interested in joining Tim there, if you're interested in going, you can maybe talk with him afterwards or something. You have his email from the emails in the messages. But if you're not, that's fine too. We only really need to provide one person. And it's interesting to just see how the whole process works, what they take in and how they handle the hazardous waste. You might be very familiar with that because of your past life, but yeah.
Get all geared up, put on put everything in its proper, if it's an acid, if it's a base, it's a this, or it's a universal,
Right.
all lingo, but not ready to jump back full time into the health and safety world. A little too much stress, a little too much, but this sounds more fun.
Makes sense. Thank you. And Andrea?
Well, Jeff and I are obsessive recyclers and hate throwing anything away because there ought to be a way to recycle it. We're always proselytizing with everyone about recycling. And we would like, our lives are very overextended, but we would like to serve the town in some way, and this seemed like a manageable way. And we're interested in helping find increase participation and success of recycling. And are really pleased with the new box at the new library site that takes more things.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you. And we can talk about, at the end of the meeting, I'd like to revisit this and see after you hear the little bits we go through, whether you're still interested in joining the committee. And what the process is that our committee makes a recommendation. We don't appoint anyone. You'd make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, and then they would do the official appointment. It's not a really major process, but that's the steps that it goes through.
But you do have to
Marla?
get sworn in, and you do have
Yeah.
to do a fairly extensive online learning thing. Just so you know, I was caught off guard by that when I joined the committee. It's like, I have to do what?
Well, that's more just being on any committee. So you
Yeah.
have to go through sensitivity training, I think it is, or ethics training.
Right.
And the town clerk will walk you through those steps.
It's a state
It's not
regulation.
difficult. It just takes a little bit of time.
Right. Yeah. I'm just, just a forewarning. No big deal. It's just, you have
Yeah.
to do it.
Not really that much time.
I
Yeah.
volunteer at the Leverett Library, and I was subjected to that ethics training a couple of weeks ago. So
Okay.
hopefully I'm in the system. I can not have to go through that. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
If you have already gone through it, you're probably okay, but it's worth checking with the town clerk and make sure everything's copacetic once we go through the process with the select board. So anyway, welcome again. Thank you for joining us. And looks like we never got Barbara or Sharon. We'll try them again next time if they're interested, but happy to have you guys joining us. So the first topic is approval of minutes, and there are actually 3 sets of minutes that were sent out. The minutes for March 29th meeting, March 29th, 22, and then 2 subcommittee meetings, which that was just Gary, Gail, Tim, and myself attended. So we'd be the only ones who would vote on those. So first I'm going to do the 2 subcommittee meetings, the 14th and the 17th. Gary, you guys, does someone want to make a motion to approve, or are there any changes for those minutes?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that since all 4 of us said aye, we're good with that. And then the March 29th, that was a group meeting. Any comments on those minutes?
No, they're very, very thorough. I'm
Yes.
impressed, Tim. I really am.
Tim, thank you
great.
very much.
Jim's our hero.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mary and Andrea know, we've often had problem finding someone to take minutes at our meetings, and Tim has stepped right up and doesn't seem to mind doing it. So we're extremely grateful to him
Does
for
an
that.
excellent
It's
job.
not an easy job. It really isn't.
Yeah. So any, no comments? Does someone want to make a motion then? Accept
I
the-
move we accept the minutes of the March 29th meeting.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, very good. So I will get those minutes to the town clerk. Yes, Gail?
Would you send them to me, please? And I'll put them to a PDF and send them to the town clerk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Or the next day, because I'm going out of town.
Or you can send them as a PDF. But they just
Yeah,
have to
I
be.
can send it as a PDF. Do you want a copy? Why
Not
don't I
really.
just make them all PDF and then send them to you and the town clerk?
Okay.
Will do. Very good. Okay, so the action items from our 329 meeting, if you look at the bottom of the minutes, it was check on regional coordination for handling textiles and mattresses with a short write-up on textile and mattresses for the website. Well, we did the write-up, Gary did the write-up, and as Andrea mentioned, we now have a box located on the future site of our new library that will take clothing and shoes in plastic bags. And Gary, again, thank you for getting word out to the public for that. I did look in there the other day and it was about half full, half to 2/3
Wow.
full. So people are already using it, which is wonderful.
Good. That's great.
Can you reiterate what goes in that bin?
Yeah, so it's clothing items that are clean, dry, not moldy, and they want
Right.
things in a plastic bag. And shoes are also okay, but they want nothing torn, and they want both shoes, not
Oh,
just.
shoes. Also, it's not just clothing. They'll take any textiles
Fabrics.
in whatever shape they're in, as long as they're not dirty and smelly. And, you know, have moldy or something like that. So they'll take curtains, they'll take, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Blankets, towels, bedding,
Yeah, blankets, towels, everything. But again, you know,
clean and dry.
I've tried to get to tell people that make sure that they're not really dirty, you know, if you've used them as paint rags or something like that.
Is there any signage on the bin that says clean and dry? Is there anything like that to remind people?
I don't think so, but they've certainly heard it from me. So let's hope that they remember.
And
Yeah,
it's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the
Probably not a
website, too.
bad idea to get some kind of sign on there, though.
And
Yeah,
it's on next door
Yeah,
Shutesbury.
yeah, it is, but there may
Definitely.
be people that get up there and just sort of
Yeah.
put stuff in there, and I think
Right.
it would be good if somehow if we could remind people, clean and dry, remember,
Right.
clean and dry.
So this,
Somehow.
this is different from what the box that the Amherst High School will take, because they will take they'll take anything. I mean, maybe not wet and moldy, but they'll take things that aren't usable for their original function, which they then recycle as textile fiber.
that's still true. That's still true of these.
Oh, it
I
is.
checked, yeah.
it just
that
has to
is.
be clean, though. That's all he's
It
saying.
just has, yeah, it just has to be clean. You know, if you got an old oily rag, you don't want to throw that in,
Right,
but,
right. Yeah.
but, and I'm sure that's the case with the one in Amherst too. These are both profit-making companies. And so they resell this stuff to people who make wiping rags, to people who make insulation. If the clothing is in good shape, they either donate it. They have a relationship with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and they give them a lot of stuff, and they also give them some percentage of the
Profits.
income that they receive from selling these things. So it's a good company to work with, I think.
Do you think the company may provide signage?
Well, I can certainly talk. I mean, there is a sign on it, but on the bin. But I can talk to him about putting up a sign that says clean and dry only. Something
In a
like that.
bag,
Yeah, in the bin, right?
and in a bag.
Well, and they need to in a bag, right?
Yes.
Definitely in a bag.
Gary, let me know if they don't have one and I'll make one. I've got a laminator. I could get it laminated and put up on the front of the,
Just go ahead and do it,
okay.
because I
Yeah.
don't know how long it would take Taylor to get somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's
That'd be
just
great.
double
Thank you,
check
Gail.
what it should say, clean and dry, and then bagged.
Yeah.
In bags, yeah.
In bags.
Clean and dry in bags.
And
Yeah.
did
Who
we
was
say
it that said that?
plastics?
The Gail volunteer? Was it Gail the volunteer?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and did they say bag or plastic bag? Did they, in other words, does
I
somebody?
think
want-
any bag is probably okay.
Okay,
I would just say
Yeah.
bag.
okay, because some people may want to use paper and not use plastic at all, so.
I'll take the wording from the way it's put on the website,
Perfect.
which is
Yeah.
their language of what's
And if-
allowed and in what condition.
And
Good.
if you see something on there that you think should be added to, feel free to add, another bullet or two, but big, if possible, as big as you can do it to laminate it, as big as you can have. Thank
Great.
you very
Thanks,
much
Gail.
for offering to do that. Great. And then anything new on mattresses? I saw an email that came out from Susan about people's mattress plans. I'd
Well,
respond, 'cause
it's
I know we don't
it's a
have-
problem. I've done a little work on it. I've tried to get the folks from the Leverett transfer station to get interested in combining with Shutesbury and maybe Pelham and another town to get a grant from the DEP to get the mattress recycling container. There's a guy up in Brattleboro who actually recycles the mattresses. The problem is that it's really kind of complicated because somebody has to be there all the time to make sure the mattresses are, in recyclable condition, and also that they put them in the container properly, because people will just throw them in and then you don't have enough. Somebody else has to straighten them out and everything. So that's the reason that Annette was not terribly interested in doing it. Amherst has a mattress recycling program already, and they got the container through a grant and everything. Steve was telling me that the only problem with Amherst is that in order to use the mattress recycling facility, you have to have an Amherst sticker, transfer station sticker, which is now $125. So if you want to get rid of a mattress, it's going to cost you a sticker plus whatever it costs the mattress.
Wow.
They're still taking them at the Leverett facility, and they're $25, I think, to get rid of them. But in November, they can't go to either an incinerator or a landfill, and neither can textiles. So that's going to be a big change. I'm going to
So
keep
Gary,
working. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, you're still pursuing ideas or you have stopped pursuing?
No, I'm still pursuing ideas. I really want to talk with Annette at the Leverett transfer station, because I think it's in our interest to get a grant, and we may have to, get somebody to pitch in a little time to make sure that it's done properly. But it would be a good thing to do. Otherwise, we'll find them in the woods somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Is Northampton going to stop taking them?
No, I think they have a process too. But I'd have to talk to Susan about that. I know Susan's interested in small towns collaborating on a mattress recycling program. So I'll have to talk with her, and I'll have to talk again with Annette down at the Leverett transfer station and see if we can get something going. But there is, if you have to get rid of a mattress, you'd better do it before November. And also after that, the only option in our area is going to be Amherst and maybe Northampton.
this is gonna be a disaster if we don't have something in place by November.
It's going to be a big deal. Yeah.
I mean, it's gotta be big for Leverett too, so I wonder if we should inform the select board and have the select board talk with their select board.
Well, let me talk with Annette first and
Okay.
see what she would like to do down there.
Gary,
Is that
would
Leverett
it
transfer
help?
station person?
Pardon me?
Is that the Leverett transfer station?
Yes, that's the transfer station coordinator. Yep.
Is the transfer station going to stop taking them in November?
Well, they can't go to a landfill or an incinerator.
Yeah.
So they have to go someplace. And there are places that recycle them. The closest one to us that I understand is in Brattleboro. And so, we either have to hitch on to somebody who's doing it already, like Amherst, and maybe we can negotiate something with Steve Talaga and Amherst to allow Shutesbury and maybe other small towns to bring their mattresses in, pay for the mattress, but not pay the whole fee for the transfer station. So those are things I'm working on.
Gary, would it help if any recycle committee members were willing to volunteer some time to attend that mattress bin? Because you said somebody has to be on duty. would it help your argument or your cause if you could tell them that they're, you
It
would
certainly
have,
might. It certainly might. I think we would definitely have to do that if we struck some kind of a deal with Leverett, because I don't think they have the person power to maintain that by themselves. Amherst is all set. I mean, they're, you know, the question is, would Shutesbury people have to pay the full $125 to have access to just get rid of one mattress? So, and I need to talk to Steve about that.
What does Leverett now do with the mattresses, the transfer station?
That's a good question. And I haven't heard from Annette yet about that. Right now, I think they go to a landfill.
Doesn't it go in the C&D?
Pardon me?
Roll off? Doesn't it go into the C&D roll off?
The C&D?
The construction and
Demolition.
Yes. Yes, right
Yeah.
now, that's where they go.
It's kind of like not just C and D. I think it's a little bit of every kind of big bulky.
It's everything except metal.
Yeah. I prefer it to only
Yeah.
be-
Yeah, if you would be willing, after you speak to both Annette and Steve, you said,
Yep.
would you just send an informational email out to the committee as to what you found out?
Sure,
Because,
as to where we're standing. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
we can't discuss it in emails, but he can let us know what's happening because of
Sure.
open meeting laws.
Yep.
Thank you. That'd be great. Okay, the next item there was meeting with the school principal about recycling education. We did sign a new contract. Do we want to pursue this, Gary?
Yeah, let's you and I go have another talk with her, because there's also composting that we need to discuss with her.
Well, what do we really want to accomplish, though? I don't want to just go there and not have any idea as to.
Well, I'd like
What
to
we're
have
gonna ask
I'd like to have a composting pickup program with Triple T. And the trouble is it costs, and nobody wants to spend any money now in town. And I can find out how much it would cost. And that depends on the amount that, you know, that we compost. But Triple T is a good outfit. I mean, they really take everything and compost it.
Gary, can you, for the notes, can you refresh me what's Triple T and kind of do?
Triple T is a composting organization, and they have an anaerobic digester, and they take everything, and of course you have to pay them to come and take everything. We had this, by the way, for new folks. We had a composting program at the school some years ago with a fellow from New Salem. And it was working very well. And then he had some financial problems with his organization, and he stopped picking up the compost, or the stuff that would become compost. And then we haven't really been able to get set up again after that. Marilyn and I had a meeting with the principal and the I guess the food person there, and they said that they reuse everything and that they have very little compost. But I think when you factor in things like paper towels and other kinds of things that could be composted, we could probably get rid of a lot of stuff in the school that wouldn't have to go out in the trash.
Gary, on item B, it also has the phrase recycling education. That's something in addition to potentially having a setup with Triple T?
Well, that's not one that I really I didn't think we were working on that, but we certainly can.
We can revise that to just be composting at this time. I mean, the thing is, I don't want to bite off too much here. The composting is big, actually.
It's a big thing, and it's going to cost too. And I don't know where the school budget is right now.
Does anybody know if Swift River is doing composting? Because when I was Swift River School, when I was working there, they were composting, but then they did have to stop. I'm assuming it's the same person that was.
It was the same guy from New Salem. I
Yeah.
think he's back in business now, from what I've heard. But
Was that the
Uh,
one who had, he was getting the stuff for his pigs, for pig farming?
Yeah.
no, that's a different guy.
Oh, I thought
No.
it was, maybe not.
Okay, so are
this was a
you and Merrill
combo.
gonna follow up on that?
This was a composter, yeah. So should we follow up on it? Should we just check it out anyway, see if they're interested?
Well, why don't you and I talk some more about it? Because I don't want to just request a meeting with the principal without really having more specific,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, idea of what we're trying to accomplish.
and how
So,
much it would cost and so forth, yeah. Well, I
yeah.
can find out some stuff from John and Amy. Amy Donovan really has worked closely with Triple T. She'd give me an idea about the pricing.
When you guys do that, can you send an email out with the results?
Sure. Sure.
Is Triple T an acronym for something?
Is it what?
Triple T, is that an acronym for something?
I don't know. Maybe there are three guys whose first names begin with T. I mean, I have no idea.
Okay,
So
like triple A, triple T, triple W.
is the name TTT or is it the word triple and then?
It's triple T. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just to be clear, am I correct in understanding that there's no composting happening now, that the composting that used to happen no longer happens?
That's right.
So we're talking about starting something new.
Well, but Gary
Or-
also said, though, that the way their system is set up, they already minimize what they generate that would need to be composted, it sounds like. I don't know
It's-
that. for a
yeah,
fact, it's just what
Yeah,
it sounded
they're
like
really,
you said.
they're really trying hard to reuse everything and not send a lot of waste out. But my guess is that the things that they can't use end up in the trash.
Mhm.
So I think it's something that we ought to at least look into and see if we can get them to do it and find out what the cost is. I'll talk to Amy.
I
So
have a
I'll
question.
just say that we've combined B and C, basically, removed the recycling education piece and just had the whole thing focus around composting for next time. For
Yeah,
action items, Tim.
I agree.
I have a thought. Since
Uh-oh.
Merrill,
No.
I know, don't panic. Since Merrill, you've mentioned that you wouldn't turn down somebody that wanted to volunteer for chair. That kind of goes maybe hand in hand with distributing some of these activities to other people. And you have two new people that are interested. Maybe someone else wants to go with Gary and work with Gary, learn about the process rather than you. I mean, it's just an option that gets more people educated and involved.
That's fine, but we
up to
don't,
you.
we don't have Mary and Andrea on committee members yet, so I don't think it's really appropriate. If
Well, but I mean, there's
Hager, Gail, and
other,
Marla are interested, or you, that would be fine.
yeah, I mean, I'd be interested, but
If you'd like to go with Gary, I'm fine with that.
I think it's probably up to Gary as to what he needs most when he's talking to these people. You know, if it's just me sitting there learning stuff, I don't know if that's going to be useful because, you know, you might have the institutional knowledge, so to speak, but I'm willing if it helps you, Merrill, and it's
Thank
appropriate.
you, Tim.
Okay.
I think what I need to do is get a little more information from Amy Donovan, who's she works with Jan Deneen for the Franklin County Waste Management District. And they have several accounts already, several contracts already with Triple T. So I need to find out a little more about what she
So
knows.
That kind of dovetails into that next item then, C, right? That's what
Yeah.
that's
Right.
referring to?
That's
Okay.
really the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
are you
Gary,
gonna,
you can just let the two of us know then. Let Tim and myself know, and we can just figure out where to go.
So I think C and E are pretty much the same thing. Except recycling education.
Mm.
Yeah,
B and C, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on hold.
Okay, that's enough. on that one, I think. So report on trash bag distribution. So we had many dates, and the biggest challenge we had this year was we started off trash bag distribution without the bags. We started in January or even earlier, begging town administrator to order the bags, so we had no problem. And I know that there was some effort to do that, but it wasn't completely followed through. And Gary and I have tried in the past couple of years to get the town administrator to allow us to do the ordering. And basically, after many back and forth conversations, it appears that that is not going to happen for a number of reasons. So we have no control over that. So we have to rely on the town administrator basically to order the bags. And there are still supply chain issues, and the cost of the bags have gone up significantly. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why things got messed up, but we got probably twice the number of bags we normally do. So I almost feel like we're probably good through next year, but we can check again at the first of the year and see if we need to order, but there's still a lot of bags in there.
Yeah,
And are we
yeah,
still
I'm not
going-
sure to get us through the whole next year, but it'll certainly get us through,
Yeah.
you know.
And in terms of the bag distribution itself, I think we've got that down pretty well in the beginning. We usually have 2 people staff the distribution because it's kind of crazy when it starts. And then we taper off to 1 person per session, and that seems to work just fine. We haven't really had problems with COVID this past year. It felt pretty comfortable, so that was good. And the only other thing I'd say is handling the cash that comes in. Just making sure that we're not leaving a lot of money in that shed, even though it's locked. And if you two still want to be members at the end of this meeting and we make a recommendation to the select board to appoint you, then you will get keys to the shed. But, you know, we don't want a lot of keys floating out there, and we just don't want to leave a lot of money in there. So Gary's been great about, you know, when it gets to a certain amount, we let Gary know how much money is in there, and he will grab it and then bring it up to town hall for going into our revolving account. Gail?
I would suggest that you move your order date maybe 3 months ahead of when you think it's realistic. Just assume
Absolutely.
that it's going to take longer than you think,
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is what, the 3rd time we've had that crunch at the last minute with nothing happening. And it's just,
Yeah,
it makes people angry, justifiably so, and it's just, yeah. So if, you know, just give an advanced date, and don't tell us an advanced date, just,
Well, we started at the first of the year. That's like 5 months in advance, or 4 months. at
we
least
did.
in
We started
advance.
in
Maybe
January.
we have to do it before that, you know,
Start in
maybe we have to do
October,
it now.
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can just check and see how many are in there, Gary. You know, just check and see what the numbers are. And if you think we need to order, I kind of feel like we got a lot in there, but
We're okay for a while, but I would like to order some more, maybe, you know, January again, or maybe
Are there-
even December.
I think December 1st, maybe,
yeah.
if we
Yeah.
need them, gives us an
Yeah.
extra month. Peg?
Are there still bags up at town hall, or are they all gone? They're all down in the shed?
The custodian at town hall has a key to the shed, and he comes and gets boxes of bags and takes them up there when they need them.
Okay.
The other outlet for bags is the Leverett Co-op. And they give me a call when they're running short, and I take some down to them.
Tim, did you have a question?
Just an observation, and don't stone me for being a whiner, but these yellow bags, I get, maybe some of them are green, I can't remember, but the tie strings, I would say 50% of the time when you go to tie the bag, in my bags, those strings pull out. And I'm just wondering if the, you know, and then if you can't tie the bag, and you got to figure out an alternative so it doesn't fall all over the street. I don't know if that's frustrating anybody in town, but it might be something when we reorder to mention to the supplier.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that the town works off of state contracts to order the bags. There really aren't many options. So we're kind of at the mercy of what's out there, at least what we're
In
told.
fact,
from-
last year,
Yeah.
there was exactly one option,
Yeah, right.
and that's the guy we got them from.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's not a
case
great.
well made.
Yes, right.
Gail?
I did get complaints about folks who had those emergency green bags, that they were so flimsy that they wouldn't hold the weight and would break.
Well,
But
when I announced the bags, that the bags were coming in, I said that anyone who got those flimsy green bags could come in and get them replaced with other bags.
And I actually traded them out a few times.
Yeah.
People brought them in, and even
I
if
did
they
too.
didn't have the full 25, I gave them, an equivalent
Okay,
number,
yeah, I
so
Yeah.
didn't know
fine.
that. Yeah.
Marla?
And I'd just like to ask, I don't know what others think about this, but I think we are, in my opinion, overly generous with the number of dates that we set up for giving out trash bags. Weren't there like 15 or 19, or I don't even remember. It was, I thought, a rather large number, which is lovely for
Well-
townspeople, but really?
Here's the problem, Marla.
Hmm.
If we don't pack the days into those 2 months,
Mm,
then people don't pick them up,
mhm,
and they bug the people at town hall after that,
mhm.
and they interrupt their work, and they make them go down and make them give them the bags and that kind of thing. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to get their bags by having a lot of dates.
And it
plus
works out, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just say it works out that we all volunteer for roughly 3 dates, which is not really that burdensome anyway. So
No.
if it looks good that we have a lot of days posted, and it's not super hard to meet all those dates, especially when it's only one person, when it's just one person working towards the end. But I hear what you're saying, and maybe we can slim down a couple this year. I will see this coming year.
I don't feel
Not add
strongly
more
about
for
it.
sure.
It just seemed a
Yeah.
little excessive to me. I thought we were babying the townspeople.
I sort of agree with you. The numbers have creeped up over the past few years. But, so maybe we'll take off a few days, but
It's appreciated at town hall, though.
yeah,
Yes, it
Let's
is.
that's
Look
the
at-
main point is to not, and the other thing is that if people don't make those dates, we have basically a penalty that they start losing bags after, when town hall has to be the distributing source. So it's one of the few things that our committee does to really help townspeople that I think we can deal with. But I hear what you're saying.
And people are appreciative. A lot of people are appreciative of,
Yes.
Yeah.
of the bag distribution and the hours and the time put in by the volunteers.
And in
We should
actually,
have a little
I
sign.
always find it fun meeting with people too. You
Yeah.
get to see a lot of people you don't normally.
We should
see.
have a sign on the shed. There's no excuse for not picking up your trash bags.
Of course, the people who see that on the shed are there to
Are
pick it
they?
up.
Right. That won't help.
I know when we did make the trek up, I usually ask some elderly neighbors if they want us to pick it up. So sometimes they say
Sure,
yes,
neighbors could pick it up, sure.
Yeah, makes it
You get
easier.
a lot of that.
All right, next item, the update on Casella solid waste contract. And, you guys are probably all aware that we went through an extensive RFP process, proposal process, evaluation process, and hired Casella, who were really the only ones who could provide the same kind of pickup we had now with our pay-as-you-throw trash bags and not having to get the toters. So that worked out really well. We negotiated some of the costs down a little bit, although I don't know what the numbers have come in for the diesel for the rider. I'm sure we're getting charged extra for that. The town has to pay extra for that, but with the cost of gas and diesel, there's nothing we can do about that. Everyone's getting hit by that. But Gary, you might have a good sense of the number of complaints, or we had a few kinks starting up, but we
Well, sure, we, because we went to 2
be
days
expected.
instead of 1. And some, people kind of got confused and the drivers got a little confused, and it took a while to iron things out, but it looks like we're past that now. I didn't get any complaints this last round, and so
Great.
that's pretty good. I was having quite a few of them at first, but Casella's been really responsive. When I get a complaint, I email the guy who's in charge of the Shutesbury contract, and he gets right on it. He will talk to at one point, there was a household on Town Common Road. Now, Town Common Road isn't an easy one to get to. You have to go back around the church and back of the church and come out, and there are a couple of houses there. And so the drivers didn't know, but once the coordinator he sent somebody up on an off day to pick their stuff up. So they're really responsive, and I think they're going to be good partners. And it seems like we've ironed out most of the glitches.
And the good news is it's a 5-year contract with an ability to renew for 1 more year. And I think we did as well as could be expected, given the costs have gone up everywhere.
And just one little side note. I had a long conversation with a fellow from Amherst who is on their waste disposal committee down there, and they're looking to do a municipal agreement
I saw that.
with a hauler and a waste disposal organization. And I asked him how much do people generally pay, a household pay. It's between $400 and $500 a year for each household to, pay USA or someone else to come and pick up the trash and dispose of it. It costs Shutesbury residents $182 a year in taxes. So not bad.
Good number.
Sold.
Thank you. Sounds good. The next item is, anything else on the solid waste contract, Gary?
It wouldn't hurt to make that known publicly.
Well, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to incur the wrath of Amherst.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't want
Okay.
to I don't want to undermine what this guy I talked to was trying to do down there.
Right.
I was thinking about the folks who complain about taxes, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you want to speak to someone specifically about that, but I wouldn't advertise it widely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it so much more expensive? Why can't Amherst get a rate as good as ours?
Because
They're
we're
trying to.
negotiating for the whole town at once.
Because see, we
and They're
negotiate,
negotiating household by household, does their own.
right?
I see.
So it's really there aren't a whole lot of options for one thing anymore. Most of if you drive through Amherst on collection day, you'll see most of the bins that are out there are USA. And the USA has almost got a monopoly down there. And so they keep upping the cost. And it's just a subscription service household by household. And so you don't really have any bargaining power as an individual household down there. So, well, and we got lucky. I mean, we only had 2 bids, and one of them was USA. And
But we also beat the bushes to find out who was out there.
that's
You know,
true.
That was the thing. We pursued them. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, let's go. Come on.
it took both, but they were interested, fortunately. So that was great.
Right.
Number 6, is there anything else, Gary, that you want to add on that textile collection program? Because we pretty much covered this already.
I think it's underway. I think it seems to be going well. People have told me that they're taking stuff up, and it hasn't been collected yet. I'm kind of waiting to see, because they said they would start doing it every 2 weeks. And we're coming up to that right away. So I'm hoping that that they will come up and collect it before their bags left outside of it, you know.
Yeah.
And I drive by it fairly, fairly often. And if I see that there's stuff outside, I'm going to immediately call Taylor, our contact, and say, please get somebody up here to empty this thing. So,
And I think
and
the
anybody
location, oh, sorry, go ahead.
else, by the way, on the committee, if you drive by there or you take stuff up and you find that it's full, send me an email and I'll get right on it.
Yeah, and the location of the box was going to be closer to the road, and our town librarian wanted to be put back further because she thought it would detract from the site, and it seems fine where it is. It's very visible, so I think that
Yeah.
worked out well.
Yep.
I haven't heard any problems with that either.
I haven't either,
Neighbors.
haven't had a single complaint.
Yeah, so
Questions about
complaints
what
is
can go
good
in, but
news.
that's, yeah.
okay, Tim, you were kind enough to give out some trash bags for the April 23rd roadside cleanup that was done with the library. Do you want to comment on that at all?
You think I can remember back to April? It actually went pretty nicely. Some people didn't even, they just used their own bags. They didn't want it replaced. And I actually can't remember how many bags. I think somebody from the library had kept notes, but there was kind of people the whole time I was there coming in with a bag, and Steve was there with a truck, your neighbor, Steve,
Mhm.
and took all the trash away. And I thought it went fairly well.
That's
I was
great.
pleased with it.
Great, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. So our next category is other. Our next item is other. And I'm going to ask if anyone has any other before I go back to our new members. Any other items? Going once, twice? No, okay.
I do.
Go ahead, Tim.
And this is out of ignorance, really. But I feel like anytime we're aware of any potential new ways, new innovations in recycling, et cetera, that somehow we should try to keep, not just get used to the same old routine, but, like Gary's doing with the textiles and the mattresses, just try to really be on the lookout for new opportunities to not to be corny, but to help the planet, because technology is changing all the time, and
Yep.
and if we don't pay attention, we could pass a new recycling possibility or something over without even realizing it. So just kind of a thought of trying to keep our ears open about new innovations and new possibilities.
Let me just say that there are fairly regular, still Zoom meetings with Susan Waite, who's our regional DEP coordinator. And if people are interested, I get those notices and I can send them out. And if you're interested in joining those, because she's really, really good, and she's up on all of the new regulations, and also up on what the DEP is going to start mandating, like mattresses and textiles. So
is that a video thing or a newsletter? Or?
It's a Zoom thing. We used to meet in person, which was great, because then you get a chance to meet all the other recyclers and from Western Massachusetts, and they're pretty neat bunch of people.
And remind me, Gary, Susan Waite is with who?
Department of
She is with
Environmental Protection.
Yeah, the DEP.
I'm sorry, what?
Department of Environmental Protection.
Right.
And her
She's the
title?
regional coordinator.
She's
I have to
the
look
she's
up.
the Western Massachusetts coordinator.
How often are the Zoom things?
Well, they've been irregular because of we used to meet once a month. But that was in person, and they've been kind of irregular because of COVID. But I do get notices, and I'll send them to the committee.
That'd be great.
And if people are interested, by all means.
I would be, yeah.
What about municipal composting? Have you folks talked about that?
How do you mean?
You mean for the town to sponsor composting? Is that what you
I
mean?
don't know much about it, but I know there are towns that have something called municipal composting.
Well,
Yeah.
what
So
they
we
do-
started talking about that with the Recreation Committee, who got the CPC grant to do town gardens, which were originally proposed behind Town Hall, and now looks like they'll be on the new library site.
Mhm.
So I think that's something that might develop over the next few years, and they will be taking leaf clippings and other items to start a compost. And it has to be figured out, but it's got to be monitored. It's not something that can just, just happen. But they do have some funds available to set something up. So that would be a municipal
Right.
composting program, which
Several-
I would like to hope if that happens and they generate compost, that can be used on the town gardens, as well as maybe for the public, but I'd love to be able to have access to that for our town gardens.
Several municipalities in the state have municipal organics collection. And the hauler will come once a week or once every other week and pick up compostables. Now at a cost, of course. I mean, it costs more, but they take them to something like Triple T, where it's an industrial composter. It's not something that can be used in the town. So what Meryl's talking about is something that we could do in our own town and then apply to a community garden or something like that.
And there's not that many people in town that I think would want to, bulk up their stuff and bag it up or whatever and bring it to a central location, because most people just compost right in their yards or just throw the stuff in the woods.
Right.
So it's really just maybe some of the homes down near Lake Wyola. I've actually been asked what people can do with their stuff down there, that would be of interest to some of those folks. And it'd be nice to
Right.
be able to give them an answer. Yeah, just take it to our library, composting area. And so that's something
Yeah.
hopefully will develop in the future. It'd be really nice.
And several years ago, we did a survey, and we did it when we were handing out bags, so we got pretty good participation. We wouldn't give them the bags till they filled out the survey, and what we discovered was that 71% of the people who did the survey, which is a good percentage of the town, composted at home. So that was a nice thing to find out. So composting is alive and well in Shutesbury.
Mhm. So on that note, I'm going to put Mary and Andrea on the spot and ask them if they would like us to, well, I should ask other members first if they're good with adding to our committee size, but
Here, here, I'm good.
yeah, we like new members. We like new members. So Mary and Andrea, if you would like me to forward your names to the select board for membership. And Andrea, I don't really think I can do Jeff without him having been present at the meeting. I think he needs to sit through a meeting
Sure, okay.
to do that. But what do you guys think?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we're a good group.
That's great.
All right, well, welcome.
We're good.
And I think the select board will probably get in touch with you or the town clerk to follow up.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and Meryl, would you please send Mary and Andrea's emails to the rest of the committee so I can put them in my,
So they are on the emails that went out, so just. look
oh,
up
okay,
the-
I can get it from there. Great.
Very good. Although I have to say with Andrea, I used their business one first, but I switched that to the other one. So the most recent one I sent out, I'm hoping has the correct one.
It's the Hotmail address.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, if no one has anything else, I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
third.
Okay, well, thank you all, and I appreciate so
everybody.
much you hanging in there with our rough beginning, and I'll try to figure out why that happened and try to let it not happen next time.
Hey, maybe next time we meet, we can meet live.
Possibly.
Maybe.
When do you think that might be?
It'll be before, probably March, be before we start handing out bags.
Okay,
It could be before
See,
that.
isn't this
too.
the best committee? If anyone ever has items that they feel they want to have a meeting for, you're always welcome to email me and I can
Absolutely.
schedule a
Yep.
meeting. So that's sort of how we do it. We meet before our big events, but we also meet in between if there's some other reason to meet.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't like meetings for just the sake of
Right.
meetings.
Well, for example, if something comes up about mattress recycling with Leverett and maybe some other towns, then we're going to have a meeting about it. And so when things like that happen, we do have meetings, but we have regular meetings around bag distribution and any other kinds of things that are part of our regular duties. In the past, we've been to celebrate Shutesbury, and we put up a little
Yeah.
tent and did some stuff, there. And so we might want to do
Cycling
that
quiz.
again.
I haven't heard anything about Celebrate Shutesbury.
I
though.
haven't either.
Kind of too late
Well-
at this point to organize it for this year
The-
for
The
the
darn
town.
pandemic is,
Yeah, I
maybe
think that's really-
next year.
Yeah, maybe next fall. All right, guys, have a
All
good
right.
evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Bye.